This episode of the Market Mondays World Tour is brought to you with limited interruption by Ally. We live. Happy Monday.
Let's get it.
Last Monday of the month.
Yes.
Sure.
That's a fact.
Rashad, I owe you an apology. Patrick Mahomes, owe you an apology. Taylor Swift, my bad. Red. Support. Swag surf. Hey, my bad.
The Swifties.
The swag surf was crazy. But yeah, man, I see you got the red background today. 49ers won, Chiefs won.
Yep.
Red Pandas winning.
Big facts.
all winners are in red. We love it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's the new era of football, man. It's crazy. I called it. I said that I thought that San Francisco was going to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Kansas City, I'm a long time Kansas City fan, so that's family. And Patrick Mahomes.
I know you got something to say, but Rashad put up the post.
Which one?
He been having the Kansas City gear.
Y'all don't. I know him a long time, y'all. So I'm gonna let him live. I'm not gonna say anything.
Living his glory today.
You are whatever you say you are, my brother.
Let's just do it. Can we do this real quick, please?
You call your mom? All right.
Let's
Oh, this gonna be legendary. Oh yes.
Put her to the microphone.
If she picks up.
Highest tier broadcast.
All I asked was, could you name some players in between? You could have said a bunch of players. You didn't say any. I don't know what fan doesn't know any players.
Okay.
That's fair, right?
True. But I mean, even Chicago Bulls fans may not remember Pete Myers. You know what I mean?
Hello? Hey, real quick, because I'm on a show right now, but who was the only team that I was ever a fan of for football growing up?
49ers.
Make sure you don't edit it out. Make sure you don't edit it out.
I was never a 49ers fan.
Now you gonna argue with mom?
Okay, wait a minute.
Football.
That's football.
Football.
I told y'all. I know him a long time. I'm not arguing with you.
Chiefs.
Say it again.
The Chiefs.
All right, please make sure that this whole segment is.
Yeah, keep the whole thing in.
She got confused. I was never 49ers. I was a kid. I was Kansas.
She got confused.
Chiefs.
She got confused with the two.
Yes, you were the Chiefs. I got the red mixed up. Cowboys and you was the Chiefs.
Sonny shout out to Sonny. He is a Cowboys fan.
All right.
All I asked was like if you could name a player or two.
You were the Chiefs, not the 49ers, the Chiefs.
All right, so here's a real question. Can I ask a question? Were there any teams in between that time that he rooted for? Or has it only been the Chiefs his whole life?
Okay, was there any other football team
that
he rooted for?
Yeah.
You confusing like
he wasn't a Giants like us.
No.
He was never a Giants, and Hassan was a Cowboy.
And he still is. So, we praying for him.
So no. So was nobody.
Hey.
Okay. Now that's fair.
Thank you.
That's mom. And we love you. It still doesn't change. Can you name a player?
All right, man. So look. Yes. Shout out to your mom.
Case closed. And yes, Patrick Mahomes is in the conversation as not the second greatest, the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, he's second greatest quarterback right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is, bro. He is.
If he get two more, you think he passed up time?
Yeah. He's only more than two.
He's on his way.
But he's on his way, bro. I had this conversation with my son last night. I was trying to explain to him why he's in the top 2 or 3. You could put him in the conversation, Joe Montana and Tom. But 4 Super Bowls.
Montana beat, bro.
Somebody said something that was what's the guy on ESPN that used to play with Tom Brady? I forgot. But he made a good point. He was like in his first. He's like the first 6 years is not even comparable.
No,
it's
like
Tom Brady was a game manager. Like he didn't come out the game. He didn't come out as a superstar. He's like
not the first year.
Yeah, he was like we never.
The Tuck rule was some BS too.
That was crazy. But the Super Bowl versus the Panthers, he was a star in that.
But he grew into that role.
Yeah, he did.
Pat Mahomes was that role since he was a starting quarterback.
He's paying for championships every year, either AFC or the Super Bowl. So he's it. But
Chiefs Kingdom.
He did lose twice to a guy named Tom Brady. That's a fact.
Yep. I bet I wanted him. Joe, you still ain't paid me my money, but we cool.
That's a fact. He lost to him in the AFC Championship. They had to
lost charades.
They changed the NFL rules because of it, because he never got the ball, and then he lost in the Super Bowl. They got embarrassed by Tom Brady.
That was early. You had to learn his lesson.
Yeah, you have to learn.
He had already won.
It's like LeBron lost to Tim Duncan. Is Tim Duncan better than LeBron?
No, that's different.
Really?
Nobody's saying Tim.
Tim underrated though.
But he's not in the greatest of all time conversation.
Yeah,
he's not.
All right, let's get this show started, ladies
and
gentlemen.
You just gonna completely ignore Baltimore like that?
Shout out to Baltimore. You know, that's family. I used to live in Baltimore, so
please
that's
talk about your family in Baltimore.
That's home. And I really wanted them to win, but I just knew that San Francisco was going to. I just knew that Kansas City was going to win. Just like I wanted Detroit to win because Detroit's home too.
Shout out to the 3-1.
You know, Detroit. That's like real family out there, and my heart was rooting for Detroit. But
me too.
I knew that San Francisco was going to win, but 17-point. Somebody's got to answer questions. The coach made a lot of questionable decisions.
Dan Campbell, go home. That's his name?
Nah. They play like that all year, man. They play like that all year.
Yeah, this ain't all year, bro. This
ain't
a championship game. You gotta.
What got you here?
Turnovers cost triple in the playoffs too. Traders, don't trade like Dan Campbell. Go for the easy win. If you can get a field goal, you don't need 800% on AMD. 40% works, yo.
That's a fact.
All that risk taking, that Brett Favre-ish. Oh my God.
The drops, they wasn't. I mean, first half they was ridiculous. They wasn't ready for the moment. But shout out to 313 and shout out to Dan Campbell because he said something very honest at the post game. He said, "I don't know if we'll ever get back to this point."
You're fired.
It's just reality, right? Like some guys never make it to this point, right? Like it's been 30 years in between as a franchise that you made to this point. You may never get back to this point. So this is another lesson. Take advantage of the moment.
While you're here.
Seize the moment when you're here because it may not come again.
Yep.
All right. This week, Earn Your Leisure, big episode, Brandis Daniels, the head of Harlem Fashion Row. So it's a fashion consortium of sorts. They highlight Black entrepreneurs in the fashion industry, fashion designers. We went to her show, legendary. She honored ASAP Rocky this year, and she honored Kelly Rowland.
Yep.
During New York Fashion Week. So, you know, anytime we get to talk fashion, whether it's with Dapper Dan or whether it's with Damon John, it's always a good conversation. So we had a dope conversation with her about high fashion, fast fashion, Black designers, the future of fashion when it comes to, you know, the Black economy. You know, Black people have always been a driving force when it comes to fashion. But, you know, like most things, we don't really reap the economic rewards of it. But you see, you know, you see a lot of stuff happen. You see Jay-Z actually doing a collab with Montclair, and you see Pharrell as the head of fashion when it comes to Louis Vuitton. There's a lot happening in the fashion world. So, check it out tomorrow at 1:00 for all you fashion enthusiasts. That's one of the ones for sure.
She's a powerhouse too. Like she's not to be slept on. She's a powerhouse. What they're doing as a collective, I think she has a book too. The dope thing is like she has a book. So for us to put inside our homes, now we can see from A to Z a fashion designer that looks like us from every letter of the alphabet. It's incredible. She's dope. Check it out. Make sure y'all support.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it. LA will be out there this week for Grammys. Shout out to Burna Boy. We might be on stage with him. Who knows? You never know.
Perhaps.
You never know.
Stranger things have happened. All right, Ian. Get your tickets to Carnegie Hall and shout out to the NBA G League. We will be GMs. We're GMs. We picked our teams already. I don't think they announced it yet, so I'll wait on them to announce the team. But feel confident about our team. Feel good about our chances of winning. And come to the game. Come to the game. If you're in Indianapolis, shout out to Naptown.
Hey, 317
for sure. Ian, any announcements?
Yeah, speaking of fashion, the world's richest man has taken that spot back. So
number one,
if you're looking for a great company to invest in, look there. Stock Club call will be this Wednesday. If you want to join the Stock Club, you get the 4 best stocks for your retirement, the best prices of where to get in. An hour call with me and 28 bonus picks for the year. You can go to joinredpanda.com or click the link in my bio. I won't be at the Grammys, but I will be at Super Bowl and All-Star Game in Indianapolis. Hometown hero must come back. So I'm looking forward to having a good time. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. And let's clap it up for us being the market makers, bumping up the number of Black investors in the market overall. I want to commend y'all and say thank y'all for the partnership. That was amazing to see. And kudos to everybody watching tonight who's invested. We got to get that number up from 40% to 90%, but I'm glad to see the growth that we've had over the past couple of years.
That is a fact. And shout out to Xander. We went too far.
Shout out to my baby.
Shout out to Xander for hitting the game winner.
Game winner.
Clutch players perform.
Proud of you.
And this is how it begins.
Yes.
He performed like the champion he is.
Legend is born.
Kobe in the fourth.
And shout out to the Journal News for putting that our high school game back into circulation.
For sure.
Yeah, that was us. Yeah, you wasn't with us shooting in the gym. That's a fact. That was us. Yeah, we
legendary.
Family ties go beyond earning your legion. You feel me? Shotty did
Teamwork
pass the ball
makes the dream work.
He did pass the ball to Mike, or maybe he thought he was passing it to Mike.
That was a great behind the back pass.
It was good. It was. The picture looked incredible. I can't front. I don't know who was going to.
Captured the moment.
That's a fact.
Captured the moment.
Yep.
Y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research, continue to share it. This is how those numbers increase. This is how you break down barriers. This is how you kick down walls. This is how you sneak in the game when they not even knowing that it's happening, right? You doing it when no one's looking. Shout out to y'all. Continue to share the research and give credit to the people you found it from. Love is up.
All right. So let's get into this. So Ariel Capital did a survey, and they did it in conjunction with let me just make sure we have the right information, because Ariel Capital is actually somebody that you should definitely be familiar with.
Absolutely.
I got introduced to them when I was a financial advisor over 15 years ago, and they're the largest Black-owned mutual fund company in the world, I believe. Definitely in America for sure. And just a very rich history when it comes to their mutual fund, and a lot of people aren't familiar with them. But when you're talking about in Black investment world,
you should know some people
for sure. They have
top of the list.
billions of dollars of assets under management in their fund, and they've been doing it for a very long period of time. So,
at a very high level.
Yeah. So they did a study in conjunction with Charles Schwab, and they said that young Black Americans are the fastest growing demographic when it comes to stock market investors, and it's up from 33% in 2016 to 40% in 2023, but then even more going even lower. So African Americans under the age of 40, they said 68% are actively investing, and that surpasses 57% for younger white counterparts. So long story short, Black people, younger Black people, are the fastest growing demographic of investors in the country. And I would dare to say,
don't be humble in this one. Market mover. Yeah, time to talk like today.
I would dare to say that we've played a part in that situation, as far as, you know,
I see.
Providing people information, providing people insight, and encouragement to get started in the stock market, ETFs, index funds, technology stocks, stock options, futures. These are all things that we've been talking about for the last 4 years or so. And you know, a lot of times, you know, people, it may have doom and gloom. There's a lot of statistics as far as Black wealth is going to be negative in years, and the lowest income and different things of that nature. But it's important to highlight positive news when we have it. And this is definitely a step in the right direction. Yep. We still have a long way to go, but this is definitely a step in the right direction, that, you know, our culture is taking investing serious, you know, actually putting money in. It doesn't matter if it's $100 or $100 million, like, you know, just get started. That's what we've always said. So first and foremost, congratulations to everyone that's opened a brokerage account, everyone that's opened the IRA, everybody that started investing in the last 4 years. You guys are a major part of this statistic. Keep spreading the word, keep educating yourself, keep educating your community. And that's what it's all about. So, you know, shout out to all you guys out there. You guys are amazing, tuning in to Market Mondays every single week. And yeah, so let's get into this. So what's your thoughts on this situation?
Let's go double screen on this, Mike.
Yeah, double screen.
First, can we just have a moment of recognition for everybody on this screen? I want to clap it up for y'all, because
you.
Right. Like it's important as things are happening to make sure that you really understand the magnitude of the moment, right? Like this isn't something that is happening every day. And we always talk about doing the work when nobody's watching. And so to do something every Monday and do the work throughout the week to make sure that you have content to put out on Monday that's useful, that's impactful, that could be life-changing. It's not an easy task, but we are committed to doing that. So I just want to applaud everybody on the screen. Thank y'all.
No, thank you. It was a tearjerker for real. Because I remember at a point in time where it was deemed that we didn't want to know the information. And I think it speaks to being fearless in approach and having a vision, which we both have. I think when you target an audience that is you, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And I'm thankful for everyone who's invested. If they've watched one show, watch every show. I gotta say big shout out to my Red Panda family. I appreciate y'all so much. But I think it's amazing that we are finally getting our way to the piece of that American pie. I saw some of the comments and people were like, hey, now that we're in, they're going to turn the tide. I have the answer on how to ride the wave if they turn it. Let's stay focused on getting us in, investing in the best companies on earth, because we are usually the marketing vehicle for them. But if that tide does turn and they start to put some tricks in the ocean, I got to figure it out for how to keep us getting wins in the market. But I think it's really a testament of us believing in the vision and targeting an audience that was underserved. And because we're in that audience, I think that's the background of why it worked.
Yeah, that's the power of information. I think when I saw it, I'm like, that's what disruption looks like. I remember in 21, we were reporting about how many new accounts were being opened in some of these brokerages, and it was around 40 million. And they were like, oh, yeah, African Americans are making up for the large percentage, but this one is actually curtailed to the actual age demographic. And if you look at the age demographic that is consuming this content, it fits right in line with that. And so it's disruptive, but we need to be even more disruptive. It's not about just opening the account, but it's about sustaining the account, making sure you're active in your account, making sure that your account isn't, in the red, right? Like, so coming back for information is important, but doing your own research is important as well. And continue to do it. I feel like this is one of those things when disruption happens and then things spread by word of mouth, but it's because it's something that's so positive, and it's a change. It's a change in culture. It's a change in conversation. And yeah, we're a part of it. We're not the only ones that contributed to it. Shout out to everybody that's come on the platform. Shout out to everybody that's doing the good work. That's appeared on Market Mondays and appeared on Earn Your Leisure about investing. I mean, this is what it's about, man. And sustainability is what I'm most intrigued by. How long can we keep these numbers improving? How do we change these demographics? How do we change the trajectory of our society? And one of those ways is investing. It's been hidden from us. I remember we had conversations about things, and it was like, even in the world of financial advising, some of these things weren't even talked about, even for you as a professional. And so it's encouraging, but we need to be even more disruptive. And yeah, I saw some of those comments too, because I was interested. Usually I don't read the comments, but I did look at that because of the report. And yeah, it's like as soon as we get in, they're gonna fix it. They're gonna fix it. We can't worry about that.
Absolutely.
We need to be in the game. And that's the most important thing. Don't let the negative feedback or be in the game. That's the only way you're going to understand the rules and how to play it. And for so long, we haven't been in it. So to see nearly 70% of African Americans under the age of 40 being in the game,
that's incredible,
man. Let's get it to 100. How do we get?
And while you're in the game, don't be like Dan Campbell. Go for the easy win. 2 tech, 2 index, no stress. Apple, Microsoft, VOOVTI. You don't always need a blockbuster home run. And if you stay with the consistent easy win, the blockbuster move will come later down the line. Shout out to Dan Campbell. I want no smoke.
That's important to consider, because somebody in the comment was like, well, long story short, they was like, well, I haven't made any money and I've been invested for 4 years. And after reading other people question him on it, he was like, he invested in a lot of small cap companies. So it's like, you have to be intelligent as an investor, and never invest in a company that is all-time high unless your dollar cost average. Always invest in the top tier companies in every sector. Look at what's driving the marketplace and invest in that, which is technology. We'll talk about chips in a little bit. Invest in index fund. That's the easiest way to go about it.
Easiest way.
S&P 500. You can do VLO, VTI. ETFs is less risky than individual stocks. These are all just principles that you should follow as an investor. But yeah, I mean, the stock market is at all-time highs. But if you've invested in, X, Y, and Z motor company out of, Taiwan, just because you thought that, they were $2, and if you bought enough stocks, then they go $4 and you double your money. That's not investing. That's not the best way to go.
Hustling backwards.
Yeah, for sure. So with that being said, let's talk about some things that do look promising. So the U.S. has reportedly announced billions of dollars in subsidies for advanced chips. So we talked about chips last episode. We talked about SMH. We talked about AMD. We talked about Qualcomm. We talked about NVIDIA, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But the Biden administration is prepared to allocate billions of dollars in subsidies to major semiconductor companies to develop new manufacturing facilities in the United States. This move is part of a broader strategy to boost domestic production of advanced semiconductors. So what are your thoughts on this? Even when we had Amin Ra on, and he was saying that the workforce in America is really not even trained at a high level to produce a lot of these chips. But then there's AI that comes into place as well. But that would kind of defeat the purpose of trying to hire jobs in America. So we're right. Billions of dollars. Is this something that's going to be beneficial for the chip industry? If so, which companies will it benefit? American companies like Intel. Who's going to benefit from this billions of dollars into chips situation?
Intel fell 12% on Friday, so it won't be them. Finito, Espiritu Santo. AMD, NVIDIA are going to be the two primary beneficiaries. Is it a good move by the government? With it being an election year, you do have to put some capital into some sectors that can help the economy grow. While even though GDP over the last quarter rose, you want to have a sustained growth in terms of GDP. AMD and NVIDIA are the two players that are going to do incredibly well. And also the big threat on the table is we cannot have Taiwan Semiconductor be the number one chip maker and the best chip maker manufacturer while all of our tech companies are based in Silicon Valley and be dependent upon them. So not only is it a way to help advance GDP in the future, but it's also a hedge. Because if we are going to hitch our economy to AI and chips over the next 10 to 20 years, we can't have the number one player be in Taiwan. So I think it is great. We've talked about AMD endlessly, one of my favorites. NVIDIA is one of my favorites. They'll do incredibly well. Google will get some spillover. Meta will get some spillover as a result. That's part of the reason why you saw Zuckerberg announce how many GPUs that they bought as well, which does make them a bigger player as a result. But by the top two of all time, NVIDIA and AMD, you'll be A-okay. NVIDIA does need to come down in price somewhat, but for long term, hold those two. I know the Intel hate is endless. It's not hate, but okay. Is Intel better than ASML?
No.
Are they better than Taiwan Semiconductor?
These are rhetorical questions.
Is it better than AMD, NVIDIA?
Yeah.
No. I can argue Intel's not better than Micron.
But so that
speaking of butts, they can go sit their ass on the bench and get a better CEO and work on better projects. That crypto project is not going to save them.
So the announcement helps the industry overall.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, so if we're looking from an ETF standpoint, SMH, I think, is the winner because it doesn't matter which one of these companies gets awarded. It definitely will be inside of that ETF. We spoke about NVIDIA, we spoke about AMD, and I said, NVIDIA's prices are high, and right when they come out with the H200, it'll probably be higher, but that leaves a market for people in a different class, which I think AMD will pick up on. Intel, I mean, they're just so far behind, but they are building, right? And so we talk about projects that are happening here domestically. They have three in Arizona. They have one in Arizona, Ohio, New Mexico, and Oregon. They're spending $43 billion, right, for that infrastructure. We already talked about Taiwan Semiconductor, what they're doing in Arizona, but Samsung is another company, right? People when we think about chips, we don't think about Samsung, but if you talk about from consumer home buying experience, you look inside your home. They are probably making majority of the chips that are inside of your TV or your fridge. Those appliances, Samsung has a huge market in, right? But there are companies here. You mentioned one, Micron.
Yep.
Company to look at, right? If they're awarded some of these subsidies. I spoke about this 3 years ago. I spoke about it last year. I think I mentioned it on the last episode. Global Foundries is a company that I definitely will watch. They are already building here in New York. And then one that gets slept on, and we kind of talked about it. And if you were in high school, you definitely would recognize it, but that's Texas Instruments.
Absolutely.
Right? Like this is a company, even if you look inside of SMH's ETF allocation, it's always in its top 10. It fluctuates between, I would say, the 5th position and maybe the 9th or 8th. But it's another strong semi. And we always think about it in terms of, oh, wait, that's the people who made our calculators. But do a little deep dive into some of the things that they're producing, and you'll see like this is another $1 billion industry that's inside of here in America. And so if we're looking at the administration to give subsidies to companies that are here, those are some that are on the forefront that exist here. Everybody knows NVIDIA. Everybody sees that AMD. We saw what happened with Intel in their report, but these other Microns and the Global Foundries.
Rashad mentioned Qualcomm. Is Intel better than Global Foundries, Qualcomm? You can argue Marvell. Like, what are we talking about? Like, Intel is like if Bill Cartwright played in today's NBA.
So
Bill Cartwright, I don't want to smoke.
That bad?
Would you put if it was the last of your kids' money for college? Would you put? No, your money
I'm not doing that. No.
See,
so this news will benefit who? SMH as a whole, and all of the other major chip companies. This is more encouraging news for the chip industry.
Absolutely. I would say definitely SMH does. SOX, I know, is another one of those that are inside of semiconductors, but I think the ones that are domestically, I think those are the ones that you should be putting at the front of your watch list, right? Because it's called Chips for America, right? So they're going to look for American companies. So the ones that we just said, I think those ones benefit. But if you want to just be safe about it, obviously, I'm going the ETF route.
Absolutely. And Qualcomm is a good dark horse as well if you're looking at one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. But this is going to be great for the industry. It's definitely going to provide some safety for the next 4 to 8 years for this space to continue to grow. And I said it maybe 2 episodes ago, the government is a market maker. When they say they're going to deploy this kind of money into a space, do you think it's going to grow or decline? We're going to see rapid growth here over the next 4 or 5 years.
Right. And they always, they have a personal interest in it, right? They want to see it grow. They want to be the leader in tech, and they know what's at the forefront. They know that these are the leading pieces inside of technology, whether it's from a business infrastructure standpoint or a personal standpoint. Like, you have to have it, right? And so we saw what happened during the pandemic, and it was a lesson learned. All right, we can't rely on this from an international standpoint. We need to have more domestic infrastructure. This is a step in that direction. So, yeah.
And Rashad, you said it last week, the next 5 years would be the most important. This explains why. This pretty much bakes in 300% growth over the next 4 or 5 years for this sector, with the government putting all this capital at play for it. Hold for long term, hold for 5 years.
So let's talk about, a lot of times people will say, like, well, by the time you guys talk about a stock, it's already at its all-time high, and it's already too late. It's already too late to invest in it. But if you want to take some more risk, let's talk about one big name company that's not at its all-time high, that's actually dropped pretty drastically. Tesla. So Tesla's 52-week high was $299, and it's hovering around $188 right now. It's down $60 this year to date. It's down $60. Its 52-week low was $152, so it's not too low from its 52-week, not too high from 52-week low. Tesla's stock is of interest because some people look at it like, he just came out and said, Elon just came out and talked about EV competition coming from China, and how if no regulation and government support is done, they're gonna just go crazy. So some people might look at Tesla stock as an opportunity because it's down, right? It's $100 lower than its 52-week high. So it's like, okay, 40% off of its high. This is an opportunity to buy. And then some people might look at it like Tesla's best days are behind them, And in the best case scenario, they'll probably move sideways. Worst case scenario, they might just continue to go down for a while, right? And Elon Musk is extremely erratic in his behavior.
Your prediction has come true about him being the Kanye West of tech.
For sure. So what is your opinion as far as Tesla's stock is concerned?
Both things can be true. So they could have the best days behind them, but it can also be a great investment opportunity. For disclosure, I've been an investor in Tesla forever. It's a pick and stock club. But remember last year I was saying you can't have a luxury brand and then discount it like it's a Payless shoe.
Mm-hmm.
That's come to bite them in the ass. If a car is over 60 grand, they are classified as a luxury vehicle. The used cars are selling 40%. And most people, if you bought from 2019 on, you are underwater. You got to put the cocaine down. Got to pick some new management up. Starlink, of course, is a darling company that he has that is probably 3 times better than Tesla, but we're seeing an issue of him even saying, well, I won't invest this technology or AI into Tesla unless I have controlling interest. Well, you shouldn't have bought that dead, dying ass bird of a media company. I propose if the stock continues to run this way over the next year, that Tesla needs a new CEO. I think he should remain on the board. He may need his Steve Jobs moment where he goes off and works on another project and focus solely into Starlink. But if you look at the margins are being compressed, I don't agree with the analyst saying that the stock could drop to 85. I would like to pick it up at $135. I will go heavy in there, but the stock has not performed well. Hedge funds are not in favor of it. You also have to remember that him and Biden don't have the best relationship. I thought it was interesting that Amazon decided to go with Rivian instead of Tesla, and you're the market leader. So he's pissed in Kanye West fashion. He's upset a few people over these last 4 years. And as people have less discretionary income, and let's be honest, that Tesla does not look better than Mercedes, BMW. It does not look better than a lot of GMs. The Highlander, there's 9 cars I can name that look better than that Tesla. Everyone has that large iPad screen now. What are you going to do? He has not delivered on our Cybertruck, even though Kanye West looked cool when he hopped out of it. I think they need a shakeup in management. I think he should remain chairman, but I think they need a visionary CEO like a Satya, like a Jensen that will focus solely on the business to drive Tesla higher. But I still like the stock, but we just need new management.
Do you believe in him as a CEO? I think that let's start there, right? If you mentioned all these things, and obviously we think of, I don't think anyone's saying that Tesla won't be here long term, but do you believe in him as the CEO of the company?
I think he's one of the greatest entrepreneur minds we've ever had, but he's not focused. Let me ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
Would you let him Earn Your Leisure right now? That's telling, ain't it?
Well, I preface it because it's interesting, right? Like, is this you preferenced Steve Jobs, but I feel like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, there was this moment for Mark Zuckerberg, and there's a moment, right, where there's doubt around your company.
Yep.
You're in front of Congress every other week. You make this decision about an industry that people aren't really sure of, that you don't really have any ownership over, right? The metaverse. You're putting $50 billion in. People are watching mistake after mistake, apparently, right? From this view, you're losing leadership. Sheryl Sandberg leaves. We're seeing all these things, and then there becomes that moment of doubt. And what happens? What's the response? How will you respond? And Meta has, from that moment, we've seen his leadership change. We saw them correct some of the mistakes, and we've seen it bounce back. Is this that Meta moment for Tesla? Are we at that point?
So. Here's the difference. Even in my critique of Facebook, and then they changed the name to Meta, I never once said that Zuckerberg was not a great executive, and no one on earth has ever questioned his focus. Now, the deployment of capital into Metaverse, was that a mistake? Yes. Outside of that, in terms of media, he turned Instagram into the United States living room. There was never a question about his focus or even leadership capabilities. I don't hear Zuckerberg's commentary on those geopolitical issues. And for those of you who don't know, we'll talk about it with Vince McMahon later, because there's a game inside of a game, especially when you're dealing with a cerebral assassin like Hunter. But when Elon started commenting on those affairs overseas, and I won't name which countries, that's when the tide turned. And they already knew he was doing party powder in office, allegedly. But now all of a sudden it comes out. You have to be careful who you offend. Rashad, I remember that time you called me like, hey, oh boy said this. And as a result, it tore down his empire. You can't upset and talk crazy to everyone and think that you're going to continue to have allies. We've seen this in succession. So I think the difference is, while Elon is probably a smarter entrepreneur, he has less focus. Zuckerberg made a mistake maybe for a quarter or two to deploy all that capital into the metaverse. He adjusted. They did layoffs. The company went up. Listen, Zuckerberg got on an earnings call and said, expect all of 2024 sales to be down and first quarter 25. Zuckerberg came out swinging for the adjustment in the metaverse. That's the difference. That's the difference. And Zuck only focuses on running that one spaceship, even though they may have WhatsApp underneath and Instagram and Facebook. They have all those media properties. He's solely focused on that. Elon has too many companies, too many kids, too many side pieces. Then he want to go on a media run. Then you want to selectively promote Dogecoin. Like, I need to see linear focus, especially in times like now. I need a CEO who's lasered in.
Yeah, but I mean, that's part of the transparency, right? Like that honesty that Zuckerberg displayed obviously has helped. I think when I listened to the call from the earnings, he's telling you 2024. It's going to be down for us. We're going to take a hit for a few months because of some of the things that you just mentioned. The outside factors, but internally, right? When we're talking about the sales of the EVs, when we're talking about the competition that's coming in from the international standpoint inside of this space, that key going from luxury brand to now figuring out how do we make this thing accessible to all people. All those things play into it. I just wonder if that's this moment, but we'll see. We'll see.
Also, too, at best, profit margin is 11%. Also, the difference between Meta and Tesla is being in the media business, but like a digital infrastructure, the margins were a hell of a lot higher, so you can dig yourself out of a hole faster. Like all companies that have very thin razor margins, like we can talk about traditional media later and how tech has eaten the lunch. Let me ask you guys a question. If they paid $5 billion for Raw, Rashad, back to your point, what is the rights to the Super Bowl on Netflix worth?
That's a big bag.
Raw gets 2.2 live viewers per week for Raw, maximum. Shout out Tony Khan, shout out to Omos, shout out to Bobby Lashley, Cena, cool. What is the NFL rights worth? So while traditional media, razor thin margins, you don't trust most of the broadcasters, tech has come in and eaten their lunch. That wouldn't be able to be done if the margins were a little bit better and the leadership was there. I'm really big on preventing the entire house from catching on fire when I see a grease fire. We have a grease fire right here at Tesla. Zuckerberg put theirs out last year. They rebounded incredibly well. But outside of Elon, and they do have good management, but who do you hear that would run the company that would do a great job or is providing a great vision for the product lineup or product roadmap for the next 3 or 4 years? We don't see it. We don't see it. Elon, come on the show. I would love to have you. I have some questions for you. So, and I still think he's one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time, but entrepreneurs need focus.
So would you invest in Tesla or no?
Yeah, I've been in Tesla for.
No, I'm saying right now if
it got to 135, I would definitely touch it. I wouldn't buy it right now. I don't think it'll fall to that 85 price that a couple analysts were saying. Mm-hmm. But at 135, I love it.
You're buying a stock there.
Oh yeah. I'm buying confidently at 135.
Yeah, I mean,
you think it'll get to 135?
I've learned in 2024 just to say anything is possible. I'm gonna give y'all less clips this year. I'm gonna give you myself.
It's traded at 188 today. And like that's when we look at these things, I always like to put the context around it. And so for the year starting this year, obviously it's only been 29 days in the year, it's down 24%. But if you look at it year to date, well, if you look at it over the past year, it's up 12%.
Yep.
Right from January 29th of 2023 to January 29th of 2024, it's up 12%. Yes, it's having obviously we saw what happened over the past this month, but if you've been in it long term, yeah, you're still doing
should be
well.
good.
Yeah. Also, 5 years, over 5 years, it's up 800%.
Yeah. You're good if you're in long term.
Yeah.
Two things that I have to factor in. February, the last 2 weeks are usually the worst months for the first quarter because all the new capital from the hedge funds are being deployed into March. So we could see it drag a little bit lower. And if they hadn't lowered those prices on the cars, I wouldn't have as much concern because the margins would be there. But when cars used to be 70,000, now they're selling for 44.2 or some. Like there's some Teslas on Hertz right now. We ain't talked about them in a while for 29,000.
Oh, the used market.
I'm like, what? How you not keep? Imagine if you paid all that money without the upgrades, and then you see it on Hertz for 22,000, and then the charging market still isn't as big as it should be. So, I think this is a thing that can be corrected for sure. Long term, they're fine, but I need to see strong, or at least a plan for this is the plan to dig us out of this hole and give some stability to the stock, and we'll be a-okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, switching gears. So
Rashad, I'm trusting y'all. I'm trying to do better this year.
Yeah, but that part, just the last piece on it, just real quick, like that's part of the infrastructure bill, right? Part of it was making sure that EV stations are put out throughout the country, more of them. Obviously, you would think that the leader in that space would benefit from it. So, well, I mean, interesting to watch. Make sure you pay attention to everything that's happening. They all they tie back together.
Absolutely.
So, okay. So another company that people are familiar with that we haven't spoken about in a while, because we can only talk about Apple and Microsoft so much.
Facts.
Netflix. So Netflix.
Wow.
They crushed it. They crushed it. We was actually with Maverick Carter, very randomly. We was with Maverick last week, and I guess their earnings had just came out, and he got notified on his phone, and he was like, "Oh, Netflix, they crushed their earnings." And then we had a whole conversation about his philosophy on why Netflix reigns supreme and why they have added like 21 million users. He had a very interesting take on it. But yeah, Netflix crushed their earnings and grew their revenue 12% year over year. So is Netflix the best media company to invest in? And what do you think of their earning report and the state of media overall?
Damn, what I think. What Maverick Carter say? Let's not bury the lead. LeBron James' partner says.
Well, shout out to Mav. So now what he was saying was that he was speaking to somebody and they were saying that by them having to change the system where a lot of people used to share Netflix accounts, right?
1,000%.
And then they changed that to make it to now you have to actually have your own Netflix account if you want to watch Netflix, right? And just doing that alone probably increased users by millions of.
Yeah, I think they said 4.5 million.
Yeah, just that alone increased it by millions. So he was saying like he thought that was a smart move for sure. And then we was just talking about the state of media and movies. And I was saying that I thought that movies was a dying genre, but he actually felt that movies are not a dying genre. And he gave us a bunch of movies to watch that I've never heard of before that he said was good movies. But he was saying that, yeah, like as far as the traditional movie theater model, but he felt like the movie business was still healthy and still had legs on it. So anything else from the conversation that he added perspective on?
Yeah, I mean, we got to differentiate from theatrical to at home. That was the biggest thing. And there's only a few people who will bring in theatrical budgets and theatrical dollars to the movie industry.
Who are those you think?
Definitely Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. We try to figure out what movies that we watch, but when we look at the numbers from a box office standpoint, he's doing them. I think franchises bring in that type of money, whether Marvel's franchises, although they haven't done well recently.
Fast and the
Furious franchises like that. Kevin Hart is another guy. He's managed kind of to do both. He's brought in some box office numbers, and he's actually done the streaming platform at home. So the key word that we use is you're user friendly to the brand, or you're user friendly to some of these production houses. And once you've proven that you can do it, they're going to come and look at you again to do it.
There are movies like Barbie.
Yeah, with those blockbusters.
Black Panther.
Yeah. Oppenheimer did well. They're talking about $1 billion movie, but the day of having these blockbusters are like far and few between. Whereas we knew that summertime, we knew we were going to get a blockbuster, or we knew at Christmas time a blockbuster was coming out. And that hasn't happened, right? Because of the pandemic has changed that, streaming has changed that. And you know what? The movies haven't been that great.
But also another point to make is that it's kind of like the music industry, right? Where remember when Tupac came out and he sold like 5 million records, right? And then Snoop Dogg sold millions of records. And I remember when Jay-Z, when he sold 4 million records of Hard Knock Life. It used to be a time when artists came out and they sold a lot of records.
Crazy numbers, yeah.
And then once streaming came, artists now, I mean, if you sell 68,000 combined with the
Grand Slam
in the first week, that's a hit, right? But the music industry is still profitable because now you have a monthly subscription that you're paying. So they just need enough content on their platform to justify $10 a month for your Apple subscription. And then once 100 million people are paying $10 a month, then you do the math. So even though an artist is not selling 10 million records, nobody's going diamond anymore, it's still a profitable business. So I think that's another kind of line with Maverick's conversation where, yeah, it might not be the same blockbuster movie how we looked at it before, where, you know, everybody used to wait in line and get your movie tickets and your popcorn. But Netflix can justify spending all of this crazy amount of money on these movies if they can increase their user base, because if they can get enough people, and they actually increase their subscription price as well. So if they can get enough people to pay $15 or whatever it costs, $17 a month on an ongoing basis, and just have a catalog of movies that you can just randomly watch, Jumanji whenever you want to, or
Griselda was pretty good.
Yeah, but that's another part of it. It was like maybe we don't need the blockbuster.
So the model has changed.
Yeah, the model has changed. In
so
fact,
the movie business is not over. The movie business is not dead. It's just how we used to look at it is dead, but the business is actually still thriving. It's just in a different format.
Yeah, it's almost become, how do we get more with less, right? And so rather than spending $1.2 billion to put out a film, let's put out a series where we can cut that budget by half or even more, maybe 3/4 of it, and maybe we can make a series of it. And now from that series, we can have ancillary items. When I think of like a Stranger Things, right? Or even like you just said, Griselda or Narcos, right? Like these shows, they're seasonal, right? But we can have ancillary things come from it. Whereas if a movie, it's like when we grew up, it was the movie came out, then you wait till it came on DVD or VHS, or you would buy the lunchbox. Like there was ancillary things that came from it. Whereas now, as the movie comes out, all right, next movie.
Well, that's also a point that I had made, and it wasn't just Maverick; it was Paul. Also, shout out to Paul Rivera. And so Paul is he's on The Shop. If you ever watched The Shop, Maverick and Paul, but he's actually an executive, a high-ranking executive at Spring Hill. So him and Mav pretty much run Spring Hill. They run the company. So we was at their office, and my take was that, because we were talking about black movies in particular, like, you remember there used to be like a lot of great black movies, even hood classics, like you name
I got the hook up.
No,
we're not putting no,
like real hood classics, like
Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood,
Above the Rim,
Juice,
A Boy with the Hood, Juice, Paid in Full, those type of movies. We haven't had one of those movies.
Shout out P, I rock with you.
We haven't had one of those movies in a long time. But what I said was that series replaced that. So 50 Cent has replaced those movies.
Absolutely.
50 Cent is the new John Singleton, but he, instead of doing movies, he's doing series. So now he has Power. Thing. He has BMF. He has Power, Ghost Book of Power.
Raising King. Yep.
Raising, all of these different things. Now, those are essentially the hood classics that we grew up on, but they're not in movie format, they're in series format.
Yeah.
So, but once again, that's another way of the evolution of the content, right? And of the streaming. So yeah. So shout out to those guys at Spring Hill. They have a tremendous media company. But Netflix. Is Netflix still king? How do you feel about Netflix stock? And what's the future of media and investing in media companies?
Number one, I've been saying this for a while. I think we all can agree. Traditional media is dying. LA Times is cutting jobs. Condé Nast has layoffs. Sports Illustrated is pretty much done.
Dead. They got you in the Matrix, man.
Frozen.
They froze you up. Yeah. I'll just pick up right where you left off for a sec, because let's just say this. Let's just put the crown on them for now. Right, the crown belongs to Netflix. It's been there. We saw Disney as a challenger, and they still number 2 in my book. But the crown belongs to Netflix. Anytime you can, incredible, right? And yeah, there was password sharing, and they did something very slick. If you were a Netflix account holder like I was, they told you that somebody hacked your email, and you need to change your password. And once I changed my password, now everybody that was on my account no longer has it, and so some of the people that I'm sitting next to have to get their own account and they have to figure out how to register. And now that adds new users. And so that accounts for, let's say, 5 million other people, but you still got 10 million. And I'm trying to think over the fourth quarter, what was the thing that brought them there? Was it the newer subscription level that was priced at $6.99 that had ads on it? They've done something brilliant. So we got to give them the crown. But investing in media companies, it's tough. And what I'm starting to see, and everybody should be seeing, is consolidation inside of them, whether it's HBO and Discovery. I just saw Paramount's trying to grab Showtime. Everybody's consolidating because the business structure around it is changing, and everybody wants to have the content. Now the focus is, how do we get live? What do we get from a live standpoint? And so you saw Amazon, and we talked about the deal they did with the NFL, which was incredible, right? $100 million for one game. You see Netflix do the deal with the WWE, right? You see Amazon again doing it with Major League Baseball. The NBA is going to come into question very soon. YouTube did it with the NFL, right? They took it. You used to be DirecTV. Now we're going to put the NFL League Pass on YouTube TV. So it's changing from the standpoint of traditional media, where it was like, all right, here's the traditional channels. Here we go, and we'll invest. No. Consolidation is happening. I'm not sure if I'm investing in a media company specifically. Now, everybody knows that I love Disney, but it wasn't just because of their media arm. There's ancillary things that go along with it. But Netflix, yes, is the crown. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd invest in a Discovery or a Paramount or a Comcast. It's changing so much that it has to go through this wash phase of what will the new form of digital media look like before I could even go near it.
Robert Iger, I won't say anything bad about you, because as soon as I do,
thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
But no, Netflix is the king of the hill. Traditional media is dying, and the tech media 2.0 versions are going to take over. I'm not the biggest fan of investing in media companies. The margins for Netflix are pretty good. Profit margin is 14%. Gross margin is 39%. But when you look, so when Mr. Beast got his deal for $100 million from Amazon, and I can see him and The Rock doing a little presidential thing, getting ready to line up in 28, right? Going back to Raw, I'm a huge fan of wrestling back in the day, but Raw doesn't draw how it used to do in the Attitude Era. If they paid $5 billion for that, once again, what is the NFL Super Bowl worth? What is the NBA Finals worth? Traditional media's biggest competition has been the tech sector, and that's why I always say it's better to invest in tech across the board. But Netflix for sure is king of the hill in the space, and the thing that really destroyed them was decentralization. Like, at one time you had a power 3 or 5 networks, and then HBO came into the mix. Now people don't even like, and also with the influx of Instagram and how popular that's become, people don't want to go to a movie when they are themselves picking up this phone and trying to be the star themselves. Your consumer has become your competition. It's a tough business to be in. So for that reason, as Mr. or Damon John would say, I'm out on the media business, but Netflix is king of the hill for sure.
Yeah. You brought up the WWE and SmackDown. What's interesting is, and this kind of got overlooked, is that the amount of partnerships that they've been able to like gather, right? So you think of this Netflix deal. This is just one deal inside of this umbrella of the WWE. They have the Netflix deal. They have a deal with Peacock, which is Universal, right? I think for NXT. They have a deal with Fox for SmackDown.
Yep.
Right. And I'm thinking like they have every major TNT, right? They have the deal. That's where Raw used to come on USA. And so you think about they have almost all the major networks, and they're doing individual deals with the brands that are under the umbrella,
show.
Right? For each show, which is like, this is pretty brilliant. If you look at the case study of it, right? They're attacking individually. So the next thing will be, all right, well, rather than doing pay-per-view, maybe their SummerSlam or their Royal Rumble becomes the entity that goes directly to one of these streaming platforms.
Yeah. Clearly, he needed the OnlyFans for what they was doing backstage.
Well, he's out now. He's going. Vinnie Mac has officially stepped down.
If, hypothetically, you and I had a deal to sell Market Mondays, but I sell it to the Saudis to cut you out, and then I buy it back from the Saudis. If you knew something salacious on me, would it happen to maybe make it to Charlemagne or Ebro? Or you guys have to do good business. The boy already took your daughter.
Yo, that's a fact.
Time to play a game.
Triple H. He's the new CEO, Triple H, right?
Well played.
And so the kids are still, Shane McMahon is still there, and
no, Shane's out and Stephanie's out.
Both. Is he still married to Stephanie? Okay, just checking. Okay,
so who's the mastermind? If you mistreat my mom for 3 decades, where did the info come from?
Dirty game.
It's a dirty game.
What DX said?
Shawn Michaels. I ain't seen Shawn Michaels and Hunter look so happy going to the Royal Rumble in 25 years. They ain't looked this happy since they screwed over Bret in Montreal.
Shout out to Bret. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Him and Ultimate Warrior. Yeah. All right.
So that's it.
Rock is cooking.
Hey.
Who's your favorite?
My favorite what?
Wrestler.
Ever?
Yeah. Outside The Rock.
No, The Rock's not my favorite. It would have to be somebody like the Iron Sheik would play a major part in the culture.
Tell me more. Wait, what? Iron Sheik was undefeated for like 8 years, though.
Iron Sheik was a guy. He was a guy.
He was that guy. You know, I put my money on the long shots. That's why I was a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I put my money on the long shots.
It's paying off now, ain't it? Long-term investment. Yeah.
That's a fact. I want to go with the the team that nobody else is rooting for.
So you wasn't a Hulk Hogan guy?
Nah, because he's
the most popular.
He's Michael Jordan. Like, who wants to just outside of LeBron James? I never go for the number one player.
Got you.
You know, that's boring. Who wants to just root for the best?
You.
And who?
LeBron, Patrick Mahomes.
I said outside LeBron. Like I said, I've been LeBron James since day one. That's different. Like that's literally he could have turned out like, Greg Oden.
Only one.
He could have been Greg Oden. He could.
Shout out to one of Naptown's greatest. We're not gonna do that.
That's what I said. Shout out to Greg Oden.
We're gonna see him.
That was a great
There's a lot of players that get drafted.
Shout out to him. Shout out to Mike Conley.
Portland messed him up. Right system, he would have been straight.
Shout out to my college coach. See, I had an assistant coach in college, and I'll never forget. I was in college. This is over probably 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, look, at this time, it's 20 years ago. I said, Kobe Bryant's better than Larry Bird. He laughed at me. I said, Kevin Durant.
I said about Durant. Yep.
I said Kevin Durant should be the number 1 draft pick over Greg Oden. He laughed at me. How'd those work out? How did both of those work out? He said, you don't know what you're talking about. He said, look, Greg Oden, generational talent, Larry Bird, greatest shooter of all time. I said, yo, Kobe Bryant's better than Larry Bird.
That's a fact.
Big facts. Durant, too. You're going to keep it 1,000.
Better than Larry Bird? Yeah.
Hands down.
As far as talent, for sure. It's not even a question.
Talent, yeah.
It's not even a question. That's not even a question.
Yeah.
So,
Troy, who your favorite wrestler?
Bret the Hitman Hart, Ultimate Warrior, The Rock as in high school, like him and Stone Cold, that era of just wrestling.
The Attitude Era was crazy.
That was different. That was different. That was like you in high school. Like I remember dudes was watching that when we came home from like practice. Like, yo, we got to watch Monday Night Raw.
I do appreciate British Bulldog too. Another one. Another
he
underrated.
Died.
Rest in peace. Another underrated.
One. He was another one. Legends, man.
Legend.
Yeah. I had like the action figures, like Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Big Boss Man. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Marty Jannetty when he was teaming up with
Marty Jannetty. Oh my
Legion of Doom. You know what I'm saying? We really grew up on this thing, man. Yeah. I think my 9th birthday was a wrestling party or something like that. Shout out to my
Ted
parents.
DiBiase.
$1 Million Man.
What's he without Virgil?
Everybody has a price.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Everybody has a price.
Everybody got a price. Shout out to Virgil. Yeah. Shout out to Paul Bearer, Undertaker, the original one.
Absolutely.
Legend. Yeah,
for sure.
It was an era. That was an era, yo. Now we got to pay to watch it.
Let's do some questioning for the audience, shall we? Tied in with a lesson. Would you rather have $2 million up front, $4,000 a week, or an 850 credit score? Put in chat which one. A, B, C. $2 million up front, $400,000 for life, 850 credit score.
The engagement play. I'll see what you're doing.
Whew. Yes.
Smart.
Which one makes the most sense? Which one would you guys rather have?
At this point in your life?
Followed me that people would pick some of these options. Okay. The credit score doesn't matter if you don't have cash. For those you don't know, you can have an 800 or 810 mid score, but if you don't have enough cash on hand, there's only a certain limited amount of money you're going to be able to receive. So the fact to think, well, if I get an 850, they'll give me $2 million. Nah, especially if you black, not gonna happen. Impossible. You should take the $2 million up front, put it into an asset or a vehicle that can get you 10 to 30%. Maybe if you watch a show called Market Mondays, you can get the asset to invest in, and that way you can end up having $200,000 out of that $2 million and still have both. Just like a financial threesome. You get to have a $2 million and a $4,000 a week. Financial freak off. What we doing? Why is this a question? Yo, so Nvidia got 300% last year, and people are like, yo, I'm gonna take the take the $2 million. Listen to me. Have your financial freak off and put yes in chat. What are we talking about? Man, I'm gonna take the 850 and then invest it into
bro. You know what you could do with that 850?
You know, 850 stay broke. That's what you can do. What?
I'll take it. I think it's a no-brainer, man. You take the $2 million up front. At this point in your life, right? Like, what else would you do? Why would you not do that? With the information that's readily available, with the amount of resources that, like,
look, guys, credit is extremely important, but let's not be stupid. $2 million, $2 million, you can clean up your credit. It's like, yo, I can leverage this equity in this house in Cleveland, Ohio, and get the down payment, and then
I'm gonna take the HELOC money and put it in a
HELOC denied. HELOC denied.
Come on, man. Look, $2 million is $2 million, bro.
It's gonna take you $200,000 to clear your credit right now. What you talking about? Stop it.
Big facts.
Just pay your bills. Just get to $2 million and pay your bills.
For real. Auto pay real easy. But what do I know?
But the win for life thing is never a bad option, especially like the lottery winners and stuff like that, especially if you're not disciplined, because you can obviously blow a lump sum of money. But the annuity is always a lifesaver if you don't have the best financial habits, or I agree. Can't. Yeah, that's always the
there's no guarantee on your life.
But the caveat is when you pass, you can't roll that over to children, right?
You can't.
Well,
the lottery. So, like when somebody wins $1,000 for life as a lottery ticket, or $4,000, let's say a week, right? When you pass, that doesn't get transferred over. When you pass,
but there's not an option, because like in a pension, because I used to roll over a lot of pensions for people. So usually with a pension, and this is for people. A lot of people, I saw people in the comments. I do read YouTube comments. And somebody was like, "Well, they don't talk about retirement planning," and that's surprising because Rashad Rashad was an advisor.
Talked about this. Go watch every fucking episode.
well, let's have a conversation about retirement planning. For all of you pension people. So if you're a cop, if you're a firefighter, if you're a teacher, any type of civil servant job, and you still have a pension, it's important to know your options when it comes to pension. So usually with the pension, you have a few options when you retire. You can take a lump sum. You can take a lump sum as far as a rollover. So let's say you have $1 million in your pension, you take a lump sum, you roll into an IRA. Then you can just do whatever you want with it. Or you take the payouts. So you can take like your life only. So your life only is like the highest option. Let's say that's like $3,000 a month. But when you die, it's over. Then you can take your life with survivor getting 50% for 10 years. So now let's say that might be $2,000 a month. But then when you die, the survivor gets $1,000 a month for 10 years, right? Then you could say, okay, your life and then survivor for their life, but that'll be a lot lower. So let's say that might be like $500 and then the survivor gets like $250 for their entire life. So that's extremely important because a lot of times people have no idea about their pension at all.
Yeah.
And once you make a decision with your pension, it's irrevocable. So a lot of times people just make decisions with their pension. They're like, just give me the most amount of money possible. And they'll die next month. And now they worked their whole entire life and they actually had like $1 million in their pension and they're getting $3,000 a month, but they only live 2 months and their families don't get anything after that, right? So that's something that, but within when I was in the insurance business, we used to have this strategy called Pension Max. So a Pension Max strategy was to say, okay, so let's say you're getting $3,000 a month. That's the most you can get from a pension, right? But then if you want to do the survivor option, then that might be like $1,500 a month. So now that's a lot less. So we would say it's like, okay, get the max, get the $3,000 a month, but then take $500, let's say, and buy a life insurance policy. So that way you can get the most while you're living. And then the life insurance policy might be, I don't know, $500,000, right? And that way you're taking care of your survivors when you die with the life insurance, not the pension. That was a strategy that we used to use when I was in the insurance industry. So yeah, for all of you people that say that we haven't talked about retirement planning in a while, that's a retirement. I don't think we've talked about pension strategies before, but that's a retirement strategy as far as pensions for all of the, like I said, most people don't have pensions anymore, but some people still do. So all of the teachers, all the union, mostly union jobs still have pensions. So teachers, firefighters, cops, some people in hospitals, stuff like that. Sanitation workers, maybe. But the big three are firefighters, teachers, and cops. Those are the big three. Those are the most powerful unions.
There are provisions for beneficiaries. So if you die, you're beneficiaries, but you have to fill out a form, and it goes by state. So every state's lottery, because it is considered gambling.
The lottery?
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, so if you win $1 million and you're offered an annual payment of $50,000 over 20 years, or a lump sum of $785. Obviously, if you get the lump sum, that's up front. But if you do it over 20 years, the winner is still entitled to those funds, but the beneficiaries or the trust has to be defined and paperwork has to be filled out. So yeah, your family could still get it.
Yep.
Yeah. So the for life thing is subjective, right? Because how many lives does that mean? Like if it's your life and it is my beneficiary, does it go down to my kids as well?
No, it's you have a beneficiary. Like one beneficiary.
Just one.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the end of the term is that person. So if I do it and then my son has it, I pass, it goes to him. And then as long as he lives, he gets it.
And it will be calculated off of his life. So if he's younger, then he's going to get a lower amount of money than if somebody's older.
Got you.
Because he has a higher probability of living a longer life.
Yeah.
You know who has a high probability of dying? Evergrande. Breaking news alert. Told y'all 2 years ago. Now Evergrande is
liquidation.
$300 billion in liabilities.
They said that they must liquidate.
The world's most indebted real estate developer.
So who has jurisdiction here, though? This is the real question. Who has jurisdiction? China. It's China or is it Hong Kong?
China.
Okay.
So if I disperse funds like a TARP program to elevate stocks to offset us having to liquidate Evergrande, what does that tell you? Always look to see what the big players are doing. And if Evergrande is going down, which is one of the biggest developers in the world, do we not think that some of our developers here and in the UK are not in trouble?
Yeah,
this is part of the game that's fun.
This is the Go City play.
Yep.
Where you can mass produce at a very large amount in a very short period of time. But if there's nobody to live in these spaces, now what?
Hey, Bob Iger, here's an idea. Go to Hong Kong.
No music.
All them ghost buildings. Go set up your content factories there. Pennies on a dollar. They told me I need to provide some solutions instead of just critiquing in 24. So, Robert, go make that call and see if you can go get some of the properties from Evergrande for pennies on a dollar.
Well, his tenure is about to be up. So
I know he's happy as hell.
We got to figure out who's next. Again,
it's gonna be tough. Who should I already said Mr. B should run Disney. Who do you think should run it?
Man, I really thought it was going to be Adam Silver, but he just signed an extension with the NBA for the end of the decade. Yeah, he's
going a lot smoother than Disney.
He's going to 2030. So
yeah,
I just there was some commonalities there. You see Disney. I mean, even when we were at the All-Star, Bob Iger was having the conversations with Chris Paul. They were having panels together. You just saw there was synergy there. Obviously, being on ABC and ESPN, that's under the umbrella.
Oh, by the way, Chris Paul will be a billionaire.
Just for the record.
Tell me more. Well, what is he investing in?
Doesn't matter what he's invested in. His best friend's Bob Iger.
Oh, that's his best friend?
You know who's also slept on? Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely.
Russell Westbrook has netted, I think he's nearly at $500 million right now.
Yeah, he's smart. He's a smart guy. But shout out to Chris Paul. He's actually supposed to be at InvestFest, but he couldn't make it because he had to do he had to go to Golden State. He had just got traded, but he's done a great job of positioning himself. Relationships. It's all about relationships. That's what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Bob Iger. I don't know if that's his best friend, but they're very good friends. They're very good friends, and he's very good friends with a lot of those type of people. Why don't people like Chris Paul? You say, why don't they like Chris Paul?
Yeah, like in the league and like amongst.
I think he has, he's one of these people that has always had a reputation of having a chip on his shoulder, and then when he plays against you, he's could be a little chippy.
He's a dog.
He could be a little chippy. So it's like,
yeah.
And nobody likes the short guy. Isaiah Thomas, nobody liked him. Joe Dumars, nobody liked him. Like nobody likes the short guy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Allen Iverson was different because he was such a cultural phenomenon.
Icon.
He's the best short guy.
He's to play against him. He wasn't like a friendly person.
No,
he wasn't like a LeBron James where he was open. Like he was a dog. Like I was a dog. Talk trash.
Yeah, I think Chris Paul gets that the I don't know, kind of like the
dirty player thing.
The dirty player thing. But
it's like Zeke.
Yeah, he's just like he's relentless though. He's just a relentless competitor, man.
But he's a good shout out to Chris Paul. He's
Hall
a
of Famer,
good dude,
sure.
and he's a big advocate for Earn Your Leisure. So
that is a fact. The stand-up dude gave us a call. He actually personally called us to say, he literally had just got traded to Golden State, and so they had to do like this team meeting that he could not miss. Solid dude. We met him at All-Star last year. Said that he loves the show, watches every episode.
He's one of the greatest point guards of all time.
Absolutely.
And I hate that they keep trying to move him out of that category.
He's in the 5. He's in the 5
for sure. Okay, so let's talk about Civil War.
I'm getting scared, bro.
Are we on the brink of a civil war?
The United States of Texas.
With Texas. Well, technically, Texas is actually not part of America because they are a sovereignty situation, in 1842 when they signed the Declaration. So
the Louisiana Purchase wasn't signed.
Shout out to all my conspiracy theorist.
Yes,
I'm with you. I'm a sideline.
You're advocate. In that world. I'm in that world.
Heavily entrenched.
You're in that world.
Look,
heavy.
I just can't say it. I'm really 19 keys Billy Carson, but I can't. I gotta put the bow tie.
There's limitations to it.
Look, I'm joking, but I'm like
eco-friendly. You're eco-friendly about this.
I have to put the hard bottoms on.
You're adjacent.
But if it was up to me, I'd be in the basement.
You're adjacent.
I would be in the basement.
Conspiracy theorist.
Canned tuna.
He is conspiracy theory adjacent.
I am.
Most of the conspiracy theories that come true, though.
Yes.
This is true.
I'm that guy. I'm that guy.
We found your leader.
I'm that guy. So what's up with this Texas situation?
And it might keep us side by side.
I was about to solo you.
Nope. Hold on. In frame. Yep. No. Pan back out.
Yo, I was about to solo you.
Nope. No solo.
All right. Let's do it.
I'm gonna be clean. I will say we do have to figure out an issue with this. The state of the migrant issue. Of course, I think the Republicans are playing a little bit dirty to sully Biden's chances of winning. But if you look at what's going on in New York City and Chicago, I don't understand how there's stipends and housing available when there are not that same stipend and available for the citizens that are there. This is a coup of sorts. But I do think that the borders need to be protected, but it's a very tricky conversation to have, and it's a very tricky political gesture that Governor Abbott made. But when you have 22 states in unison start to say we need to protect our borders, it's not so much of an indictment that they care about what's happening in the country. It is political warfare at its finest. And because things are not going well in the country, you're trying to rile up a certain base for votes. And I don't think that that's fair. Now, we can talk about the same states that are rallying to protect migrants being out of them. That land was stolen. Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, Mississippi, Florida. I don't want to have that conversation because Rashad, hard bottoms, investors, right? Yeah. I'm cool.
Yeah.
If the conspiracy bag paid, I'll go down that lane all day. It don't pay. I've seen what happened to Alex Jones. Alex, you can come on whenever you want. It's not worth it. He got into the JFK bag. I said, what are you doing? But I do think that there needs to be a lot more protection. And then also, I keep pointing the pension fund in Chicago disappear. Even Nicki Haley fucked up. When you come out and say, hey, people, if you're 20 now, you're going to have to work to 71. When the retirement age is 65, she told you the gap and how much money was actually missing from Social Security and retirement funds. Go look at everyone from 20, how many people there are now. Do a little bit of math, go on ChatGPT, and it'll tell you how many hundreds of billions of dollars are currently missing. But a lot of this is political gesturing. They don't care about, because 20 years ago, I can argue they didn't care when the migrants came into these states and they got to work for cheap labor. They didn't give a damn in 1990. Why do they care now?
Yeah. I feel like there might be some people that are like, what's going on in Texas? I want to give some context to it. Is that cool?
Yes.
I want to preface this by saying that, Ian, you still live in that state, correct?
Absolutely. So I gotta.
All right. So
you know what I mean?
So here's what's happening. They have an Attorney General, Ken Paxton. On Friday, he forcefully, and I use the word in quotations, forcefully rejected a request from the Biden administration to grant federal immigration officials full access to Shelby Park, which is in Texas, along the southern border, that the state National Guard has sealed off with razor wire fencing and soldiers. All right, so they've barbed wire this area. So the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees the Border Patrol, had given the Attorney General last Friday, to say that the state must relent and allow federal agents inside the park. But on Friday, they rebuffed and demanded that, saying that Texas state officials would not allow the DHS to turn the area into an unofficial and unlawful port of entry for migrants. Paxton pledged that Texas efforts to protect its southern borders against every effort by the Biden administration to undermine the state's constitutional right of self-defense. And so his last statement was, we have more wire than they have people. So let them cut it. We'll be fencing it again the next hour. So they're saying that this is self-defense and we're not removing ourselves. So this is the context around this. So this is a state saying we're going to protect ourselves. The federal government, we're not going to allow you to come in and remove us from us protecting our borders and I guess our land, quote unquote.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be clear. They listen. Trump got the victory.
This is I've never seen this
At all. I've never seen a governor have like at the administration. If you're listening, do the Slim Shady and please stand up. You gonna let a governor talk to you like this?
Well, that happened with Obama. I think it was Arizona.
He should have stood up too.
When she got off the plane and she tried to like scream out, and a lot of his political pandering and showmanship. But I will say this: one thing that we was in Chicago and I saw something that was very disturbing. We was driving through and we saw like 150 people like camped out in front of a police station. I'm like, what is that? They like that was his immigrants that came and that's like a safe haven and that's where all of it it was a very weird situation. So this look, I'm not one of these people that says that immigrants are taking jobs because I personally have never seen a job that an immigrant has taken from an American. They're doing jobs that nobody else wants to do. And they're adding value to the economy on a certain level for sure. But something has to be done to make this situation a little bit more efficient because having 150 people sleeping outside of a police station or even where I live, I drive, down and there's like an area where I just see like a line of immigrants every Saturday. And it's like, this is where they're getting food. I don't know. It's a weird situation that's going on right now with these democratic states that have just become dropping grounds.
New York, a big one.
They're just dropping grounds for immigrants, and they don't really have a plan for them to do anything. It's not like the ironic thing about it is that these Republican states are probably the states that actually need them. Like even I was watching this documentary about a farmer. I think he was like in Alabama, one of these states, and he was saying that they took the immigrants away. Long story short, and his farm actually fell apart because he was saying that they was like picking watermelons or something. He was like the work that they were doing, no American would do. So he actually needed them. But you can't just drop people into cold weather environments and urban centers with nothing for them to do, no plan in place. That's not sustainable. That's just not sustainable, and it's not beneficial for anybody. It's not beneficial for America, but it's also not beneficial for them. They're coming to America for a better life, but I don't know how much of a better life that is to just be sleeping outside and just waiting in line for a meal. That's not beneficial. That's not beneficial. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe we can get somebody from the White House to talk about this. Or maybe we can get Angela Rye to give her opinion, or a political or one of our political friends. But this is turning into something.
It's troubling.
Yeah,
because if Chicago and New York turn to San Fran, it will not be good for the economy. Definitely will not be good for the election. I mean, I think Trump. You've been saying it for about a year, but I think Trump got this thing in the bag. Who do you think is going to be his VP, DeSantis or Vivek?
Well, let's talk about how Tim Scott is slipping and sliding on the dance floor for this situation.
He's scraping and scrambling for real.
Wow. Like, yo.
Boy, you look.
Oh, man.
Showed every tooth possible.
Yeah, that's alarming. That's really alarming.
Man.
Yeah.
Uncle Ruckus was upset. Like, bro, you doing too much. Ease up.
Oh man, these are heroes.
The money line is in Trump's favor right now. They said that he's going to get more black votes. I saw Black Enterprise posted this. Trump is supposedly going to get more black votes this election than any Republican in American history.
That was a prediction?
Yes.
Wow. Where'd they get the Senate,
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it's not surprising though, because I just look at the sentiment on social media sentiment. Anytime that we post anything politics related, there's a lot of comments pro Trump, anti Biden.
Student loan ain't gonna do it.
So the public sentiment, is definitely favoring Trump for sure. Because when you see black people supporting him, a lot of white people are going to support him off the rip. So even if he splits black votes,
can't split them.
I don't know how he loses. I'm not sure how he loses at this point in time, unless the Democrats pull a rabbit out their hat.
They go get Auntie Shell.
What was I think wasn't the percentage like 90-10 last election
for Democrats?
Yeah, 90%.
I don't know
of the African American vote.
It's going to be a lot different this year.
It can't. If it goes to 80%, it's a loss. It can't slip past 85.
It's gonna slip past 85 for sure. He's gonna get a lot of black votes. A lot of black people love Donald Trump.
What YG say?
They love Donald Trump.
What YG say? Shout out to Nip and YG.
Yeah, so
it's tough.
I don't know.
Put in comments who you guys voting for in the election.
I'm not sure how he loses this one.
Or if they go, like people may say, I'm not going to vote, which is, that's
going to happen a lot.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we'll keep you updated with all the information that we know.
Wow, wowzers. Crypto. So Bitcoin's ETFs first reached $2 billion in assets under management. The fund now holds on nearly 50,000 Bitcoins after adding another 4,300 tokens on Thursday. So what's up with the future of Bitcoin and Bitcoin's ETFs and cryptocurrency?
And we have to remember 3 years ago, almost to the date, BlackRock started the blockchain ETF. So if I get the blockchain ETF and 3 years later get the Bitcoin ETF, I give me like a little bit of a monopoly, right? Invest in BlackRock for the long term. Bitcoin is going to do incredibly well. Coinbase is pushing up as a result as well. Mm-hmm. But if you want a guaranteed win, like I said, I would just keep investing in BlackRock and Bitcoin, and you'll be a-okay. I know there's some research reports about Bitcoin maybe sliding back to 20,000. I don't see that yet. If it does, I'll be the first to say it here. If it does get back to 20,000, the famed area where I called it a few years ago, load up the boat. But I don't see us sliding back to 20,000 right now. But remember 2 years ago when I said like a bank or hedge fund would come in and take over the crypto space? Do we think that's true now, or the internet just hate me when I say it? Y'all can clip that one up. I'll give y'all. Told you. Yeah.
Bitcoin's interesting. I mean, we watched it go down to 40. I know people were like, "Oh, the ETF approval, it's gonna shoot up straight up to 60,000." We actually saw it go under 40. But what's also interesting inside the space is to see, right? If we're talking about BlackRock, is to see some of the money that has left some of the other investments. So if you watch the inverse with Grayscale, which was the original where people can put their money, right? Sometimes being first to the party could be your detriment, right? Because now
pioneers get arrows in their back.
This is a fact, and this is one of those situations where Grayscale caught a few arrows. We actually saw them go negative, while all the other ETFs that had now opened had, right from the first day, had gone positive. Because number one, you've given people more options to now invest, more opportunities to invest, and some may say, "Hey, these are stronger institutions that we're going to invest in," and so now they have taken a hit. So that's interesting to watch, man.
I feel bad for them. I really do.
Well, staying in
crypto, what would you do if you were the CEO of Grayscale?
Michael Saylor?
Yeah. No, not Mike. Mike's gonna be fine, but Grayscale.
Like, they were that's the first one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, to push for that, but now you have all this competitive threats from BlackRock. Vanguard is going to get into the game later this year. Coinbase is eating part of your lunch.
Yeah.
What would you do to help turn that around, or is it time to just take it out behind the shed and shoot it?
I think before you shoot it, you figure out if you can have a collaborative effort with someone, right?
Yeah.
Or I think that's the best case going forward. Once we start to see, right? Because what happens is that yes, there are only 10 options now, but who's to say there won't be 25 by December, right? And so if you're starting to see a decline with only 10 options, what do you look like when there's 25 this year and then there's 60 in the next 3 years? You might become obsolete. So this is one of those. Let's take a look and let's have a hard reset, collaborative efforts, or mergers and acquisitions. Who can come in and save us?
Yeah, you better try and sell that thing real quick.
Yeah.
That's Vince McMahon playing behind the scenes, ain't it? Vinnie Mac, you're a nasty dude, yo.
Vinnie Mac.
So staying in crypto, Coinbase got upgraded by Oppenheimer. It says that the exchange is stronger than many people realize. So Coinbase is interesting because it's one of these stocks that has done well as far as the last year. It's up $75 in the last year. But when you look at its all time, it's still like it came out the gate 342, debuted at 342, and then just dropped to as low as like $30, $35 at one point. But now it has rebounded, hovering around $131 now. So will it ever get back to that 350 range, or what's your thoughts on this Coinbase situation?
Crypto community, I love you dearly. I appreciate you for educating me and empowering me in every way that you can. I like Bitcoin. I told you about the partnership with JP Morgan and Ethereum. All of my disclaimers and cape is flying. No, I don't think Coinbase exchanges are a bad business long term to invest in. As great as Schwab is, like if you look at the history of exchanges, they normally have issues. I think Brian is a great CEO and he's been able to overcome some challenges. But when you have that much regulatory pressure, it's really hard to thrive. Also, too, like there isn't as much fanfare around crypto. Like you would think with the ETFs, we would be back to the hype of how we were 2 or 3 years ago. It's nowhere near as close. And I think they'll get some tail end effects, but I don't think they'll ever be at the 340. Like for them to be at 342 and Apple in the 170s, like you can't tell me that makes sense from a valuation standpoint. The security threats. So no, I think it's a okay business and a great sector with a great CEO. Sometimes the business model causes you destruction no matter what you do. It's kind of like the Stripes of the world or the payment process. It's like if you're making 0.02% off of every transaction, you need to make hundreds of billions of dollars in transactions with a high profit margin to be able to scale. That's why like PayPal continuously has issues, even though they've been a leader in the space for a long time. So I don't like Coinbase. I don't like exchanges to invest in. If you guys like them, you guys can invest in them, but I wouldn't put any of my money into an exchange as an investment long term.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Coinbase, it's interesting because it's so tied to the success or the downfall. I shouldn't say downfall, but the depreciation of Bitcoin. Yep. Whereas when you think of a Stripe and you think of a PayPal, those are relying on customer transaction, small businesses, and this is relying on an actual asset itself, right? And so when we see Bitcoin fall, we see Coinbase drop. When we see Bitcoin rise, we see Coinbase rise. And to be reliant on an asset that is that volatile, it makes it tough. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons for Oppenheimer upgrading it. Maybe they're looking at the space and saying some of the things that we've said about Bitcoin having and the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin. So maybe that's what they're looking at. I'd be interested. Yeah. But it's tough to invest in something that's that reliant on an asset that's volatile.
And you're also competing. So as an investor, I would say, is Coinbase better than Bitcoin on return basis? No. Is it better than XRP? No. Is it better than Ethereum? No. Is it better than Michael Saylor's fund? No. Arguably, maybe better than Kathy's. That's one win so far. Are you better than? I mean, I would argue Coinbase may not be as good as some of the actual crypto exchanges themselves. So when you're dependent on the asset to go up, but you're also competing against them for returns, there's no way for you to win. There's no way for you to win.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Yeah.
So let's go into this dead or alive sector, energy sector, before we head out.
All right, DOA time.
Conspiracies real quick.
Oh, we can do that. Or we can do that. Or we can. You
got a new conspiracy?
We got a new. We got a whole new situation to talk about conspiracies, but
hey,
soon come.
I can feel it.
Soon come. Gotta keep creating.
Hey, we're gonna focus on this dead or alive, right? We're gonna talk about the vital signs of some of these companies, but we're gonna be sector specific, and today's sector is the energy sector. Ian, we're gonna go over a few of these companies, and something that shouldn't come as a surprise is that we're going to see a common theme amongst them.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with Next Era Energy. The ticker is NEE. It's an American energy company with about 58 gigawatts of generating capacity. I think they did over 18 billion in 2020, about 15,000 employees. Let's talk about them. Ticker NEE. They're down 20% over the past 6 months, down 21% over the past year. What's your thoughts?
Which will put them in the bear market technically. Next, they are alive, but I don't love them. There are a couple others here that I like a little bit more. If you've been holding them for the last 3 or 4 years, you'll be okay. 21% drop does technically put that stock in a bear market. I don't love them. They are like they're like Zay Flowers. I'm sorry you dropped the ball and fumbled. Like has potential in the future, but you're not Patty
Why you
Mahomes.
throw money there like that, man?
I like Zay. Xander loves Zay. He was so heartbroken. Come, Dad, he dropped the ball. I'm like,
damn.
I know,
he fumbled on a 1 yard line.
Just run through, man. Just run through the tackle, man.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah. So, but shout out to Zay and the family.
Damn. So what we saying that this has
it's alive, but I don't love it.
Life support. We're gonna put life support on this one. All right. Let's go to Southern Energy. Ticker is SO, down 5% over the past 6 months. Southern is an American gas and electric utility holding company. What's your thoughts?
Southern, alive and well, love it. I don't like many energy companies, but if I have to put money in the space, Southern is one of the ones I would definitely invest in.
All right, let's move on to ticker SRE, Sempra, public utility holding company. They are trading around $71 today. Over the past 6 months, down about 4%. Over the past year, down about 11, well, almost 12%.
They're a sleeper. Not too many people talk about Sempra, but they are alive and well. And if you look since 2008, they were at $26. They're at $71 now. Slow and steady. Kind of reminds me of like utilities back in the day that just printed small, consistent gains. You didn't have to check on them. So Sempra, they're alive and well.
Alive and well. All right, let's go on to the next one. American Electric Power. The ticker is AEP. AEP is the ticker. They are down just about 8% over the past 6 months. Over the past year, down 16%, which is near. They're getting near that bear market.
Yeah.
What's your thought about AEP? And I'm starting to see a theme here with a lot of the electric ones. Electric companies had a tough year in 2023. That seems to be the common
after
theme
having
here.
a great 22.
Exactly. After having a great 2022, there's always a sector, right? Like we saw in 2022, it was technology. Last year, it would happen to be energy. What's your thoughts on American Electric?
If they get down to negative 22%, I like them. Like you said, they had a great 22. Last year was rough as well. So JC talked about it 2 episodes ago. Energy kind of like is a new hedge. I do like AEP, but I like it if it gets to that negative 22% over the last 6 months or a year spot. For those of you who say I only talk about Apple and Microsoft, NextEra, Southern, Sempra, and AEP are 4 in the energy space I like.
All right, let's go to the next one then. Ticker is PCG. The company is PG&E. Now this one is actually up over the past year, up 7%. So I'm assuming this one's going to get more than a life support.
Contrary to popular belief, I think they should take this along with Grayscale Bitcoin, get some of the Vince McMahon zip ties, put them together, take them out to the shed and shoot them. That's over with. I wouldn't touch PG&E with 100-foot pole. So, or Brock Lesnar's gloves. Y'all nasty, yo. I kept telling y'all, 2024, all y'all who be doing that little nefarious BS, it's over with. It's over with. Act clean. Act clean. At least in my craziness, I tell you my crazy up front. That's my little trick. You never know with Ian. At least you know. One day I could go crazy, but until then, I'm gonna keep it cool. Say the little conspiracies, right? Umar and Alex, I need you on the show. What we gonna do?
Act clean, y'all. I like that.
Act clean.
All right, now this is actually one in the energy sector that has done pretty well over the past year. Constellation Energy Corp, ticker CEG, up 48% over the past year, which is really impressive. And over the past 6 months, up 25%. So this is a solid one. What's your thoughts?
This damn near the apple of the bunch. No pun intended. This is the number 1 draft pick. Patty Mahomes all day, Tom Brady all day. Super alive and well. I will put this on your watch list for sure. If the economy ever drops, this is one I would want to put money in. Do I like it better than Exxon Mobil? Yes, for sure. Constellation Energy, quiet sleeper. Kudos to the management there. They have done an amazing job. But this is like the best of breed in the energy sector.
Yeah, is having an incredible year.
Hell of a year.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Better than Intel.
that is a fact. All right, let's do one more.
Real quick. All y'all who love Intel, can you screenshot me your computer and tell me if you got an Intel chip in it? Unless you got a Gateway or a Compact, you don't have an Intel in a computer that you bought the last 4 or 5 years. The math ain't mathing. That's Ponzi math.
Ponzi.
Shout to Intel.
Shout out to the good folks over at Intel. Yes. Let's do one more. XL Energy, ticker XEL, down 5% over the past 6 months, down 12% over the past year. What's your thoughts on XL Energy?
They're not dead, but I think they're on their last leg. They remind me of, like, for those of you who were invested in the Great Recession, kind of like Petro Hawk in that class. They didn't do well post-recession. Their last high was in 2008. So if the last high was in the last Great Recession, it's a part of my rule book. I can't touch it, because then you can have incremental gains, but I can argue if you want incremental gains, you'll be better off getting a index fund. There's a bunch of cryptos that will give you stable gains, even if you invested at the all-time high. With the exception of Bitcoin, you'll be able to push your way out and be able to get solid returns. I wouldn't touch this one. It's not dead yet, but it's on its last leg for sure.
Vital signs.
Yep.
All right. Yep. Well, that's our dead or alive. Now, really quickly, before we move on to the next thing, I just want to clearly, like, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that obviously it's a huge earnings week. Yes, we are aware of it. Big time companies reporting starting tomorrow. Well, starting today, but the big ones are coming up tomorrow and later in the week. We got AMD tomorrow, Microsoft tomorrow, as well as Alphabet. And then on Thursday, we have Amazon, Apple, and Meta. So this is a big.
All those going to do well.
Oh, it's big time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we start the 21st of November for NVIDIA's earnings. Should be an interesting one. Should be an interesting quarter. All right. So big week. I know some people like to put their calls in around earnings, and some people like to have puts around earnings. So, I mean, depending on how you've evaluated and done your research, man, good luck this week.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a good one. Fourth quarter.
AMD, NVIDIA will do well. Meta will do well. Who else is in that line? This the baller earnings.
Yeah, this week. Is it. This is billionaires, trillionaire row. This is the trillionaire row. We got AMD tomorrow, Microsoft tomorrow, Google, Alphabet tomorrow, and then on Thursday, Amazon, Apple, and Meta.
All those will do well.
Yeah, big time.
I'm
interested to see the Apple one.
I think they're down 1% for the year. Which is, like, even with that, if you just start investing this year to have the drawdown so low. But you know what? Really, we didn't talk about it last week. How well that Vision Pro sold. That ugly ass headset sold out.
Yeah, I think we were in tech. We talked about it, but we didn't talk about it here.
Yeah, they sold what, 40,000 units or 80,000 units?
A number that surprised both of us, I think. And
I'm sorry.
I will raise my hand. I am part of it. So yeah, the Vision Pro actually releases on Friday. So anybody that pre-ordered, the first day you can pick them up is Friday. I'm looking forward to it. They dropped some new commercials around it. So looks pretty incredible. I will let you know. I'll have it here, right here.
Okay.
Market Mondays. You have it right here.
I love it. World premiere.
Yeah, we're gonna debut it. Apple, give us a call.
For sure.
Rashad, you think Bohemian Grove is a real place, or?
Well, let's talk about the Super Bowl Ghana situation.
Yeah,
that's fire.
So they
nice teaser.
The NFL teased the Super Bowl ad that they are going to be releasing during halftime at Super Bowl Sunday, and it's has Ghana and a couple top players in the league, They did a commercial in Ghana. So odds are they'll probably have an initiative, an African initiative.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they'll probably end up playing a game in Africa, in Ghana, probably. Like they've done that before. They've done games in Mexico City, Germany, London. So they'll probably, if it was up to me, I would say that they would probably play like a preseason or a regular season game in Ghana in 2024, 2025. Yeah. And then they would probably have an African initiative of some sorts to maybe increase football awareness, youth league type vibe. I don't know.
I think that's it. I think you just nailed it. Usually when the NFL goes into a different country, whether it was in Mexico or whether it was in the UK, it always starts with a youth initiative. And the biggest youth initiative that they have is play, which is getting people active around sports, traditionally football. But what they're really pushing, if you watch over the past like 5 to 10 years, is flag.
Well, flag football would be ideal. Yeah, that flag football would be ideal for.
I think that's what it is.
It's too hot. Let's be honest. It's too hot to just play, and then you got to have equipment. It's a variety of different things that just make it a lot harder.
Right.
So I would say flag football would be an easier entry.
Absolutely.
For the continent of Africa, and that's something that they could probably do pretty efficiently as far as getting off on the youth. Yeah.
It's huge. So even at the Super Bowl, they'll show you the national champions from some of the countries. Mexico, I know, is huge. And what flag has done is allowed it to be unisex, right? So like the NFL hasn't had a woman ever play a game. I know in college athletics there's been females who have been the kickers, but in the NFL has never happened. We've seen the refs, we've seen some assistant coaches, never a player. But flag has made it unisex where you have young boys and young girls playing in the sport. So again, it's part of that play initiative. I think flag is the way. Plus the infrastructure right now inside of some of the countries, they have soccer stadiums, but some of the soccer stadiums aren't sufficient for, I guess, I mean, it could fit football.
I think they would have to build a stadium.
They'd have to actually
in Ghana for sure. I think they have to build a stadium.
Yeah, they have to build it.
Yeah, it works in London because you have Wembley, right? So you can keep bringing NFL teams there.
But Ghana, so this is why this situation is interesting. Ghana's getting the Africa games, I think.
Yep.
And we saw the
really.
Yep.
We saw the plot of land where they actually are going to be developing the so that could be potential if they actually are building a stadium in conjunction with the African games.
That'd be incredible.
And then that would make sense that they can actually do something at the NFL where they're doing, so look, Ghana's a lot of stuff happening in Ghana right now.
We saw that in Davos as well.
Yeah, Ghana's where it's at right now. They're getting the Global Citizens concert
5-year deal
next year. So
really,
Ghana,
that's some money flowing in, bro. Yeah,
Ghana's where it's at right now. Everybody's paying attention to Ghana. We saw that the head of Forbes, when he was in Davos, and he was like, if you're looking for alpha, invest in Africa. That was his exact words. Quote.
Yeah.
If you're looking for alpha, invest in Africa.
Alpha is mean return over the average.
Oversized return. So, all right, man. Ghana.
What is the East Lagoon? What's some other areas they told us to invest in?
That's a fact. Okay, Ian. Talk to him.
Sorry, man.
Don't call me the master investor for nothing. I was listening. I'm like, oh, really? Okay.
Ghana's where it's at.
Even Ish told me, he said one of his homeboys got some plots of land out there 8 years ago, like for $5,000. They're not $5,000 now.
No, sir.
Nowhere near close.
Yeah, we were brought through some neighborhoods, and I'm just like, whoa, this is different. Homes in the 7 figures, and people doing really, really well. So yeah. I mean, that's why I said sometimes when you travel, you get exposed to things that you would have no idea if a narrative wasn't put, or there was a depiction of what wealth and what success and what, I guess, not even middle class, but like thriving communities look like. So
Ghana's where it's at.
You gotta travel the world.
Ghana's where it's at. So yeah, we'll see what their announcement is, but that's probably what it will be. But it's just another sign that man, you need to find a way to get to Africa. I actually put a poll up on that post to see how many people was going to Africa this year. So how many people are actually going to any country in Africa this year? And 72% of the people responded yes, that they will be traveling to Africa.
That's encouraging.
This year.
That's encouraging.
More disruptive behavior.
It's interesting. We'll see.
We got to get there before the others do. For Vlad and them get there.
Follow the team.
They're already there. They're already there. So
bunch of vultures there, but
you got it. You got it. Yeah, the time is now for sure.
But it goes to the point that Kevin was saying, like, find something that needs to be developed there, bring it. Of course, it's one of the biggest brands of all time. That in alone is going to raise the value of some of those properties and lands and the architecture and the landscape of business development. So get there early before it's too late.
And just to even have a, if you're fortunate enough to be able to travel, spend time, you might want to look at actually going out there for some time. It's a different. I feel like America's become a very toxic place, and it's good to even live somewhere for 6 months out the year, 3 months out the year. Like it's you don't really realize the toll that it's taken on you when you're in it. But when you get out of it and you come back to it and you see like, damn, like this is, I gotta look at Blueface's baby mom tattoo her face and hear debates.
If the dedication ain't like that though, I don't want it though. Right?
I gotta hear debates about with Amon Shumph. Shout out to Amon Shumph, but this 50-50 at some point the 50-50 article, it just has to it's over at some point.
Wait, Amon was having a 50-50 about Tiana?
I missed it.
Well, he talked about how if a man has money, he's not looking for a woman to pay bills. I mean, he's not wrong in what he's saying, but I'm just saying the repetition of this conversation.
The comments,
it's like, okay, I get it. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's just the same conversation that's being recycled over and over again.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, yeah, man, if you can get outside the country.
You left the whole Bigfoot thing out? I thought you was do that in there.
Get up on your Bigfoot. With the Bigfoot. Hop on you.
This is what we subject to, man.
Where does Bigfoot rate in the top diss songs of all time?
In the worst of all time.
90th.
No. In the worst of all time, I think it's in the top
worst
2.
of all time.
You say that it's the worst diss song ever?
Perhaps.
Nicki, I love you.
I'm trying to think of one that was worse. I don't.
Well, first of all,
this was the worst.
What comes to mind?
First of all, you got the Barbs. Let's not.
No, I know disrespect to them.
I'm not. I love you.
She's the greatest of all time.
Female rapper of all time. I'm gonna be clear. All that Drake pop. Listen, Drake will wash most. We gonna stop that too.
Most.
No.
I need to mad to go kill most. And most, I love you. We're not gonna do that. Let's not play.
Most is my guy.
Anita Max. Okay, but Nicki, this wasn't it, baby.
Nah, it's probably. Can you think of one that is worse?
I think it was a warm up.
I don't want to hear part 2.
I think it was a jab.
It was warm.
I don't. You don't deserve the part 2, bro. It was so bad. I thought it was. I'm like, this isn't the record. This is not the record.
Hop up on your Bigfoot.
Yeah, talking about
stop
talking about the deceased and all that. That's I don't know if there's boundaries, right? Like because families got brought into.
There's no boundaries in disses.
Yeah. But you don't think that was you can think of one that's worse?
Come on. Shout out to all the Barbs out there.
Wow.
Shout out to the Barbs. Was it New York? Got me in Midtown. Nicki, I want no smoke. What's her husband name? Kenneth. I want no smoke. This wasn't it.
No, it wasn't. And she's the greatest female rapper of all time.
Of all time, hands down, easy.
No denying that. This was the worst diss song I've ever heard. The tweets were better than the record.
I was looking forward to it.
The tweets were the record. Like we already heard this. You said this in a tweet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pink Friday too, though.
Ice Spice, I like you too. But it's
nah. That
leave Lotto alone.
They said Nicki's joint wasn't even a fart.
No. That hit the building. What do you say? Ran into the building and they lungs collapsed. Like, no, that was a brick. That's a brick.
That wasn't even a fart.
That's a brick. And I like Ice Spice.
I like Ice Spice.
Shout out to the Bronx.
The other song that she did that sounds like that. In the deli.
The deli.
That's a hit. That's a hit. That song is a complete carbon copy of that. But
stop playing with them, right?
That's not going to do it. That's go back in the lab.
Nah. That's how I felt about both of those records. Can we unrelease those?
Ice Spice record is
legendary.
Can we
unrelease them?
Legendary donut.
even if the new song she put out, she just put it out cool to just keep shit hot. All right, but going at Lotto's different.
Who?
I didn't hear the whole record. I just heard the. I just heard the hook.
21 get to writing that shit. It's over with.
You start talking about a fart, like I don't.
No.
That's different, bro.
You don't want to smoke with Lotto.
That's
shout out to the Bronx.
That record right there.
Those back to back.
That is legendary brick. That's a legendary brick.
We can't unhear it though. Like that.
Carlton when he took the ball from Will and shot it for the game winner. Terrible.
That's an Arthur Fist. Like
for real.
What are we doing?
So if you want to, escape that type of toxicity,
low vibrational,
go to Africa, man. You go to Africa, you might get some, some fresh watermelon with shaka bars. Eat some mango. Eat some mango and listen to Afro beats.
World travel.
I've been listening to Afro beats a lot lately. Like it's just the frequency is a much higher vibe. I'm looking forward to the Tim's album. I've been listening to Bob Marley a lot too. Bob Marley movie coming out.
Yes, February 14th. Yes, February 14th.
Bob Marley.
Make sure I support that.
It's gonna be legendary.
We'll support that.
So shout out to I'm be on that type of frequency, like R&B. I've been on my R&B wave, but R&B, Afro beats, reggae. I be on that type of vibe. Like I can't listen to too much rap music. It's just like like old school rap, like 90s.
Benny Project nice though.
I gotta listen to Benny. That's my guy. Shout out to Benny. I know he got the video with Snoop.
I didn't even check it out.
I have not got a chance to listen to Benny's album yet, but shout out to Benny. I always appreciate his efforts for sure. But man, it's getting harder and harder to listen to this.
I mean, are rich men looking for women to pay bills, Rashad?
Be careful what you
kill me.
Be careful what you.
Everything got to be earned in 2024, though.
That's every year.
Everything got to be earned, though.
Every year,
I got it. I'll give it, but it got to be earned, baby.
Shout out to Jessica Alba.
Big facts.
Big goat. A big goat in the game.
We didn't mention this, but we were talking about Africa just really quickly. I want to give a congratulations to Aliko Dangote. I mean, you talk about a man who
he's one of them ones.
He has officially gone back over the 20 billion mark.
That's crazy, yo.
Which is but the bigger thing is that his oil refinery is now officially open in Nigeria, just outside of Lagos, where it can change Nigeria from a country that imports oil to one of the leaders that exports it. It's a huge project, and it's open, so hopefully it gets completed because it is a game changer for the entire country. Because they are oil rich, but they are refinery poor. So congratulations
to all
on
the
that.
Niger people out
all my
there,
Niger boys,
Nigeria, Lagos. We will be back soon for sure.
You know what? Y'all talked to Kaiser Soze recently. I was thinking about him that New York play that he was talking.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to need to diversify some.
Shout out to Kaiser. Yeah, I know.
Where will he be next?
Shout out to Kaiser. Shout out to all the African connects.
Yeah.
A lot of people that's doing a lot of things out there.
Empire builders.
America, it's been amazing. Thank you for everything. Greatly appreciate the efforts. Time to skate.
Finito.
Time to skate.
Like, you ain't going to the Grammys? Nope. Right to Mexico. Sorry.
Right to Mexico.
I'm good. I'm sorry.
Mexico. Here we come.
Yep.
You coming into Mexico? You crossing the border the other way.
Big facts.
Shout out to
I'm smart. I'm gonna go the other way real quick. I don't know if people notice Tulum Airport, a lot of development. People catching on. People are catching on. You need 4 international cities. The last time I'm gonna say it. 4 international cities. You don't have to believe it. You just watch us do it.
Do it.
Focus on 4 international cities.
Yep.
Not
4 stocks.
Do you have 4 wives in each international city? Is that recommended or no? Is that diversification on your portfolio?
One day, hey, everything must be earned in 24. Hope so.
Flower bed poppy.
Boy. They love me out there, boy. Hey, I was being good in Africa too. Let me out there too. You know what I mean? International here. But no.
This is good. This is just.
I gotta work. I gotta get the first wife first. You know.
This is just jokes written by.
These are just jokes written by 85 South. Don't text me. I'm not changing. Da da da. Shout out to my exes. Current.
My current exes.
Entertainment purposes only.
Only, right? Spice this shit up 24.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been real. Tap in, like I said, big episode tomorrow, 1:00. Yeah, we'll see.
A WhatsApp group chat with the wives would be wild, though.
A what? What you say?
WhatsApp group chat with the wives, the 4 wives.
Oh, all together. Well, that's the only
harmonious.
The only way it's gonna work. That's the only way it's gonna work. Teamwork. Yeah. It has to be a group effort. Collective.
The collective. The collective.
My phone about to be on fire.
I got nothing to do with this.
What's good for
you mean when you said that about the?
So you need 4 now.
2 index.
So you need 3 more people.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Big facts. It's a lot of headache. I had 2 girlfriends like that at one time. All that hair to be in the shower. Like, ladies, why y'all scoop y'all hair out and then just like leave it in the shower or put it on the glass? Look like a spider in there or something. You know what I mean? Oh man. I'm in a silly mood today. This year gonna be a great year.
Why did you do that? Marking the territory. Marking the territory.
Woo. God is good. And so is everybody who watched the show.
Shower cat Poppy.
That's funny. When's y'all show at Carnegie? The 13th?
Yes.
February 13th. Carnegie Hall. We will be with Robert Smith, Ricky Rose, Wes Moore.
You saw Wes Moore yesterday?
Yeah.
He was cracking cans.
Didn't help.
Did not help.
But
shout out to the city.
New York City, Carnegie Hall. Wear your tuxedo.
It's gonna be a vibe.
We'll be with our guy Robert Smith. Anytime we get to connect with Robert Smith, that's always a good vibe, man. You know, so shout out to Rob. He's actually a very cool guy. He's actually a cool guy.
Good dude.
For to be up $8 billion. He's actually like pretty relatable. He's a pretty relatable person.
Yeah.
I concur.
So yeah.
All right, y'all.
Hold on. One last question. Rashad, you posted this. Y'all put in chat. Have any of y'all drank Terramana from the Rock yet?
Terramana is something. You know what? After further review, I think I have seen it. I don't think I've ever really paid attention to it. But the Rock's up. It's valued at $3.2 billion.
Yeah, shout out to the Rock.
$3.2 billion. Casamigos $1 billion valuation.
Market maker.
Yeah, he's
Rock. Who knew?
He's got it right.
So yeah, man. That's what I put this on Instagram. I'm not really going to explain it. If here's the riddle for the day. You always make the most money from the branches, not the stem. You make the most money from the branches, not the stem. Riddle me that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Riddle me that.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Flutter being on the New York Stock Exchange. Flutter, for those who not to know, are the parent company of FanDuel, online gambling, which is, going crazy here in the United States. DraftKings, which early episode watchers of Market Mondays know I was big on, is up 160% right now. But Flutter, FanDuel has more users right now, and more users inside their sports book than DraftKings. So that's interesting. So the sports gambling, and again, it's not in every state yet. So you could just imagine when people start watching the revenues that are brought in from states like New York and Jersey, and obviously Vegas, which has done it for so many years, what they're missing out on and how easily they could just flip the switch and make that something that's part of their legal system.
One last thing before we leave that I thought was interesting that we just posted. So according to a report by Front Office Sports, Taylor Swift has generated a brand value of $331 million for the Chiefs in the NFL.
Yep.
The valuation is based off of data from Apex Marketing Group, which considers various media channels, including print, digital, radio, TV, highlights, and social media monitoring from September 24th to January 22nd. So in the course of 3 months, she has generated over $330 million in value for the league. So if you're wondering why they keep showing Taylor Swift and Shannon Sharp actually made a good point. They're trying to get a new audience, right? They're trying to get younger women to watch football. So this is the leader. This is the icon of the generation when it comes to her audience. So when you see her every other minute, don't be surprised.
That's good for the game.
She was on stage with them yesterday, accepting the trophy.
They had they had it right below.
And then she found a way on stage.
You saw her there? She
was on the ground, then Andy Reid pointed at her, and then before you knew it,
she was up
there.
I didn't see that part.
And my thing is, I watched everything differently. I watched the whole. I'm like, damn, they got this Africa commercial. Then I watched that. I'm like, damn, who in the NFL told her, all right, we're gonna need you to go on stage. This is a vibe. Like, this is all marketing.
They need a raise.
In the mix of all of this fun and entertainment, never forget the business that's actually being done. So the NFL is actually doing this on purpose, and this is a gift that they were given.
Yeah,
and they're gonna milk this. They're gonna milk this until it's over.
They're gonna Old Trafford for this one.
They're gonna milk this until it's over.
It's not gonna be over unless he breaks up with her. If he gets married, it's over. It's gonna be.
They're not letting him break up with her.
Yeah, they can't. It's too much financial incentive.
And she goes to every game.
Out the league. Yeah. Like
I mean. They watching what she wears because that's the thing that's going to sell out. The chick from the 49ers, she was making all those coats, and now they play the 49ers. I wonder if she'll make her outfit for the Super Bowl, but her business went up ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I mean, she is
Swiftie.
She's different.
Shout out to the Swifties.
He said he could, and shout out to Unc and Ocho, but he was saying that the only thing comparable to her as far as impact right now is
Michael
Jackson at this level. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Who, Ocho Cinco?
No. That's what
Shannon Sharp
said.
What do you
the
mean?
level of fandom that is surrounding her is comparable to Mike.
No one's close to Mike, yo.
It's the only comparable.
No, that's not true. She's not the biggest star in the world.
She's not.
Bad Bunny. You got Bad Bunny. You got Drake. You got Burna Boy.
I don't know if they're bigger.
You got Kanye West.
I don't know if they're bigger stars.
You got Beyonce.
I don't know. Well, we know Beyonce's not.
I mean, just saying, but they're all in the same. They're all in the same league. Nobody is. No, they're all in the same league. They're all in the same league.
I don't know.
Yeah, they're all in the same.
I don't know.
What is the NFL Hard Knocks Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce documentary worth?
Yo, Travis Kelce has the #1 documentary in the history of Amazon Prime because since the day he started dating her. He's already the #1 person in commercials, passing Patrick Holmes because of their relationship. We already saw what she's done.
The boy became a billionaire because he married
who did?
Beyonce.
You're saying that Jay-Z became a billionaire?
Yes.
Big facts.
No, I don't.
A direct correlation.
Big correlation.
Yeah.
Hey, now.
Yes. There are.
Shout out to Hov, but I'm just saying that's direct. That's direct.
I think
that put him in a different bracket.
No, it does. Commitment relationships help. They definitely help. They show a level of commitment, and that helps in a business structure. I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's because of her. It does help though. Not because
it helps.
Of it different.
Because of
it helps.
You said it was because of.
Helps a lot.
It helps.
She helped.
That's better.
Look at who he dated before when he got with B. How much he elevated.
Who did he date before?
I love Hope. I want to stay alive. What you mean?
No,
nobody. All he had was B.
I don't know. I just don't know. Bad Bunny. Yes, as far as music, yes, he's a star, right? But the outside entities, right? He put out a shoe for Adidas. You know one person that's rocking that?
Him.
That's rocking Taylor Swift's shoe.
She doesn't have one.
Exactly.
No, but here, no. Let me finish. Go look what she did when she wore the Adidas shoe. Look what happened to the sales of that.
She
Adidas
is a
shoe.
market maker, bro. Yeah,
right?
like she drives product.
He actually had a shoe, and she just wore a shoe. And look what happened to the sales of that shoe compared to his. That's just for Adidas. And she doesn't have a deal with Adidas like Beyonce did. And no disrespect to B, we obviously know that's queen. Like in my house, that's a queen. Like we're not even gonna play. But when is moving markets, like what she's doing with the NFL, what she's obviously done from a touring standpoint, what she's done now from a cinema standpoint, it's tough, bro. I don't know anybody that's doing that.
Especially if
Kanye's straight, if Kanye's in his right mind, I shouldn't even say in his right mind. I don't want to mix words. If he is focused, yeah, he's the person, but he's not focused.
Yeah. Supremely focused.
Yeah,
I mean, whoever made the decision to put her on TV that much, he needs a raise. For real.
It's working.
This is a big advantage for Buck
as a football fan, it's like, come on, man.
You still gonna watch the game?
Of course, you're not gonna turn the channel. It's part of the game now.
Shout out to Taylor Swift. Shout out to the Swifties. Hey, she's rocking with the right team. I'll tell you that much.
She's a smart woman.
Kingdom.
Good selection.
The Kingdom.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And she's on. Do you see now they got the tracker? They're doing a tracker now because she has a show in Tokyo the day before the Super Bowl. So they're trying to figure out how she's gonna make it to the game. They have a tracker on her.
No, that's light work. They're gonna have to. She's gonna be breaking the speed of sound. They're gonna get her there.
They're gonna make sure that she there.
I'm all for it, whatever. But can we keep the game and let's not take away from my man Usher at halftime. Like that's the star.
You better bring Chili out.
No, don't do that.
You better bring Chili. What about since the beginning? Everybody on earth is your competition.
I get it. I hear you.
Forgot about Usher.
But
I ain't
Usher,
gonna lie to you. He's not gonna get he's the biggest loser. All they're gonna be talking about is Taylor Swift.
Usher put out a new album too.
I haven't heard one person talking about Usher's halftime.
That's why we talking about it here. Make sure y'all go support Usher.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's gonna be a phenomenal performance.
And support the album he's putting out. It's his new album, so go support that, man. I see Brian Michael Cox's box.
She's gonna get more attention than him.
Usher. Yeah,
that's tough. That's tough.
But he gonna have his 12 minutes where the camera's just on him.
You gotta stay hot. Then use
that. He hot, man. Usher's hot.
No, we all have to push. I've said it since the beginning. My biggest fear: if Cardi get futures down and The Rock gets stocks down, what would I gonna do? It's over.
The Rock is close. He's close.
About to run president in 28.
He's close. I don't know if he has any political ambition, but because he doesn't have to. I think
it would be wise for him to do so.
He focusing on the XFL, no USFL, right? They combine.
NFL needs to go give him a check too.
Yeah.
Look, guys, may your darkest moments give you most clarity. Shout out to Fat Joe.
Facts.
We'll see you next week.
Yo, stay healthy out there, man. I know a lot of people. I don't know what's going on out there. They try to take us out of here.
We're not epidemiologists, Rashad.
Yo, stay healthy.
You guys are not viral experts.
Stay healthy, y'all.
Y'all be good.
Love.
Love is love.
Love.